Today, we're visiting Dirt Merchant. No, not that dirt merchant. The Dirt Merchant. Like a dude with dirt inventory. This particular dirt is free because the merchant's trying to get rid of it. You get something different in every scoop. Mainly clay, sand, lots of shale, and the occasional glove or pipe fitting. And we're going to need a lot of it for this week's project.
We'll set her up right here.
Brian and I are flagging what will be Berm Peak's most ambitious line. And it's going right after the flight deck on this empty stretch of trail. That means it comes right before the Kevin jump. So to get this right, we'll be working backwards. So this project starts with a landing. These logs form a cage to keep the dirt contained. Without them, we could still build a landing, but we would need a lot more dirt and a lot more time. We're cutting the logs so they lock together, somewhat. They'll need a little something extra, so we're making monster nails out of rebar and burying them deep in the wood so they don't hurt anyone. To get the dirt from the trailer to the landing, we're using the gidder and shoveling it all by hand. Without Brian's help, this would have been a never-ending task. Each gator load is a half ton, and we ended up needing 5 tons or 10 loads to fill our cage. With the dirt in place, all we needed to do was pack it down. So I decided to give the Whacker Packer another try. And this time, it only took 5 minutes to turn the Dirt Merchant's worthless inventory into a solid riding surface. Meanwhile, Kevin and Alexander got started fixing up some problem areas on the berm. The end of the berm takes the most abuse, so the heavier, rockier merchant soil should provide more armor. Building it up higher should also make the Kevin jump less sketchy to actually ride. This was Alexander's first time at Berm Peak, so before we made it too far into the project, he wanted to ride the existing line. So we put the kicker ramp in front of the landing and considered it a preliminary test.
All right, you guys are right. It's not easy.
At least showing up to it.
You're right. I think I'm going too fast, though. Oh, I hit the brakes. All right, that's 2.
You get one more shot. I'll give it to you.
Yeah!
First landing on the new landing. 3rd run up for the Kevin jump.
Alex broke the record for fewest run-ups to the Kevin jump.
That's really fun, man.
We've come a long way on the sketch train. Maybe it was the Whistler trip, or maybe it was all the work Kevin put into the berm. In any case, Alexander got to experience the original Kevin jump and the infamous pucker plant.
Go!
And now, I'm going to do what many of you have been asking for. So we can carry more speed off this roll-in, I'm adding a sort of kick plate to the bottom. I'm sad to see this challenge go, but we need something more functional to make this line work.
Oh my gosh, it's so much better at the bottom, dude.
Now to start working on the real feature, the one we need all the speed for. These 16-foot 2x12s are normally used as joists, but we're using them as the sides of our transition. It's called a whale tail, and although I've ridden whale tails before, I've never built one. So Kevin and I used what we learned from past projects to try and get the dimensions right.
It's definitely a whale.
It's a whale for sure. Once we had our sides cut, we sealed them with deck stain. This is super rare on Berm Peak, but without the sealer, this wood will rot. And using pressure-treated wood just wouldn't be right because it's a whale. Figuring out where to position our whale tail was a group effort. We only had one chance to get it right and not much of a way to adjust it once assembled. Because I don't want it too close to this tree.
I like that better.
Are you gonna want it to be level like that?
Yeah, it's gonna be totally level.
But this end could stay the same.
It needs to come more this way.
I mean, this would definitely be back further, right?
I feel like we should move the whole thing over a little bit. Once we settled on a permanent location, we got to actually building the whale tail. Days before, I had already cut planks from rough sawn black locust, so we would have a grippy, weather-resistant riding surface. We can do a nice, long, mellow chipper that'll just launch us into it, yeah. Last month, we built this kicker ramp out of white oak found right here on Berm Peak. I implied we'd be using it for something, and that something comes right before the whale tail. It's crazy how heavy this thing is.
I purposely didn't go as fast.
You came in super chill that time.
I did. Yeah, that felt good.
After some testing, some adjusting, and more testing, we were getting close to actually being able to ride this thing. But there was no way to half jump the gap at the end. So we'd need to practice the approach a few times and decide as a group that it was ready to be sent. Yeah, I think it's gonna work.
Yeah.
Kind of perfect.
I think that's fine.
I feel like you can make it.
Yeah, that felt much better than the last iteration.
So should we send it? There were really no more tests we could do. It was time to follow through and see if our flagging and measuring paid off. I pulled back and I landed back tire first, all sketchy, but I think I can clean it up. Nope.
Oh, dude.
I wasn't going fast enough. I am so relieved it works.
See how far left I am?
It's okay, you can steer. The whale tail felt amazing and addictive. Plus, the edits Kevin made to the berm had the whole line feeling perfect. It's so smooth and so satisfying. You can actually hear just how fun it is. With the whale tail immediately after the flight deck, we could consider this a reroute. Now Roto-Rooter starts right at the roll-in, so our map now looks like this. And I want to keep building challenging and technical features all the way down this trail, but we want to get it right. If there's one thing I learned during this project, it's that coming up with a solid plan actually works. But there's one more part of this plan that I have yet to execute. Thanks for riding with me today, and I'll see you next time.